All right. Here we go. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes Happy Hour Sports Talk. I, of course, am the perfect one, AJ. Happy Friday, November 7th, 2025. Hope you're having a great week. Ready for a great weekend. I know I am. We've got a lot to talk about today. We have gambling issues with ESPN, UFC, and college basketball. ESPN in general is flailing and free falling right now when it comes to public opinion. We'll get into all of that, along with Kyler Murray and what his future looks like in the NFL. We'll even talk a little WNBA. Oh, or is it Project B? I'm not sure. We'll break it all down, though, and a little bit more. But before I go further, do just want to take a moment, shout out to everybody watching here on Rumble, over on YouTube, X, TikTok. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. Now, it's been a big week in sports. It's been a big week in sports. You know, not only is college basketball getting started, we got our first college football CFP rankings of the season. Not only that, but we also have NFL trade deadline happening this week. The windows for qualifying offers are starting to close for the MLB. It's been a very, very busy week. And I do want to start with a sport that we do not have time to cover all of the time, but is a personal favorite of mine to watch. And I love betting on it. I love betting on it. And a lot of other people love betting on it too. And it was going to be sooner or later, in my opinion, that we were going to get a betting scandal coming from this side of the sports world. Talking specifically about the fact that UFC is currently working with the FBI and a couple of other organizations regarding irregular betting at UFC Vegas 110 last weekend. Isaac Dulgarian versus Yadier Del Valle. I always F that one up. That one's on me. Dana White goes on to say, like many professional sports organizations, UFC works with an independent betting integrity service to monitor wagering activity on our events. Our betting integrity partner, IC360, who is partnered with other sports leagues as well when it comes to monitoring it. Monitors wagering on every UFC event and is conducting a thorough review of the facts surrounding the Dulgarian versus Del Valle bout on Saturday, November 1st. We take these allegations very seriously, and along with the health and safety of our fighters, nothing is more important than integrity in our sport. Everybody stand up, gave Dana White a round of applause. That is how you give a statement right there. That was wonderful mastery there by Dana White. But he does go on to say not only that, but they are working with the FBI in order to kind of put a little, kibosh on this because, we've seen what's going on with the NBA right now in the sports gambling. Adam Silver's going to need to answer for that. And that stuff's not going away anytime soon. And it's not going to go away anytime soon for the FBI as well. Now, this isn't the first time that we've seen something like this with the UFC. There have been many times that sportsbooks have done what they did with this fight, which is they noticed the overlarge betting and the irregularities, in that type of a bout. The numbers that they were pushing on this fight were unbelievable. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but you're talking like, Isaac Dulgarian was starting at like a plus 240, 250 underdog, being bet down to plus 110, plus 120, depending on the book you're at. And it's a little weird, and it feels like someone knows something when you go into that. And that's exactly seems to be what happened coming out, that, maybe Dulgarian wasn't all the way on the up and up. Well, don't you worry, because we still have one of my personal favorite pundits, especially when it comes to the UFC, Ariel Helwani, deciding to come out on his show and essentially saying, hey, this ain't the first time it's happened. This ain't the last time it's going to happen. And it's going to be something that it seems continues to happen when it comes to UFC, and sports gambling. Now, hopefully it's something that we can end and that UFC can get ahead of here. But, when Ariel comes out here and says, hey, this isn't the first time this has happened, I am not only inclined to believe him, I have firsthand experience of this happening. I used to work at a sports book when it first became legalized here in Arizona. Worked at the first legal sports book in Arizona. And I will never forget, I was down in the Suns VIP area because we used to take bets there. And this guy would walk up to me. This guy walked up to me and he said, "Hey, will you pull up this fight?" I forgot who it was. It was two women. It was a women's featherweight fight. I forgot when it was, but it was a women's featherweight fight. And he said, "What's the odds on this?" On the underdog, and it was like 370, 375. And he took he took like $5,000 on it. Like, it was not a small bet on that whatsoever. But it was a co-main event, and so that is worth noting that it was a co-main, and so that's probably why it didn't send up as many red flags. But I made a joke about like knowing something or whatever, and he said, "Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So and so didn't have a full training camp." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, they, especially towards the last couple of weeks, there was some injury that was keeping them from training at full capacity. And so that's why he took the bet. He comes back the next day and he leaves me a nice tip. Shout out to that guy. But this is something that has happened in the UFC. And I mean, I don't have experience with it at that level, but UFC is a very interesting sport when it comes to reporting injuries and all of that stuff, because how do I want to put this? The UFC is such an opportunity-based sport. You know what I mean? Right place, right time against the right opponent, having the right type of a fight with the right person. You're gonna be chill. You're gonna be chilling and you're gonna be fine, but you give up those opportunities. You're injured in training camp, and maybe it's not a bad injury. Maybe you pulled a hammy a couple of weeks ago and you want to try to work through it, see what you can do with it and everything. That's fine. That's all fine and dandy. But the problem starts to then become, well, what if this gets out? What if this information gets out and that, hey, his hamstring, he hasn't been able to fight all the time. He hasn't been able to train how he usually trains. That's where the issues start, and that's where the issues come in when it comes to the UFC and gambling. And I talked to a guy that I respect in the UFC world and everything, and I asked him about that fight specifically. I did not have a chance to watch those last Saturday. And he said, honestly, it shocked me. He did have, now, this is where it gets fun. He did have Bulgarian to win that. Excuse me, not Bulgarian. He did have Vale to win that fight. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, did you get the tip then, or what's going on here? But he had him winning that fight. He said he didn't know anything, and that it made sense to him that he won that fight. He agreed that the lines where they were and how they were moving was weird. He agreed that was weird, and he was not shocked that it did get flagged for something. I'm kind of at the same point now. How the UFC can go about, fixing this is going to be interesting to me, because, and it's hard for me to say this because I have so much respect for Dana White, what he's built and what he's done, and the businessman that he is. But the issue with UFC and boxing is that it's an individual sport. Not only is it an individual sport, it's a very popular individual sport with lots of money, where it's very easy for someone to get into someone's ears. And we've had this conversation in the last couple of weeks when it comes to the athletes that are involved in the betting scandals. You know what I mean? You start looking at where they come from, their family and everything. It's an opportunity to make life better for everybody involved in their life. And so it's hard not to take that. Or saving someone if you're in a shit load of trouble gambling with the mob. You know what I mean? And you look at UFC, you look at boxing especially. I don't know anyone who really bets on boxing. You know what I mean? It feels like something and I might just be not in that loop anymore or anything like that. And that's fine with me. I'm okay not being in the boxing gambling loop anymore. But that, at least for me, that's always what made it so hard to bet on, was it's so easy to get to one guy and be like, hey, listen, just don't give him everything, or, don't do all of this. And so we'll see. We will see what happens with this. My mic isn't on, Road Dog. Are you shitting me? It's my other mic. Thank you. Check one, check two, Road Dog. Am I good? Am I good now? I think I'm good now. Thank you, Road Dog. I need to hire you as my tech guy. That is for damn sure. But anyway, as I was saying, Where was I? Boxing, UFC. Yeah, hard stuff to bet on and not something that is going to get easier. I'm very interested to see what the UFC can do and if the UFC can get a handle on this. If they are, they're going to be able to do something boxing hasn't been able to do since the existence of boxing. And Dana White should win a whole award for that alone. I mean, unbelievable stuff. And I guess I'm a little shocked that it's coming out so late, and not even late. I guess they were maybe looking for the right ammo and the right fight and the right time if they really wanted to expose this. And it seems like maybe it's that time right now with the focus being on the NBA gambling stuff. And now we'll get to the college basketball stuff that came out earlier today. And just all of these issues coming around with sports and gambling. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Is there an answer for any of this? Yeah, but no one's going to like it. No one will like my answer. I mean, seriously, there should just be a ban, and we've talked about this in the past if you've watched this before, but, with my job that I work, there are certain things I cannot do. And that is just like, if I want to make that money and work for that company and do this stuff that I want to do, there are certain things that I sign up for that I'm not able to do. Same thing goes for athletes. Same thing should go for them. And college athletes as well. You have the opportunity to make an unbelievable amount of money playing a kid's game and, sponsorships and all of this stuff. And just don't gamble. All you have to do is not gamble. That is all you have to do, is just not gamble. And to me, seems like a fair trade-off. It really does. Seems like a very fair trade-off to me. Hey, we're going to pay you a shit ton of money to play football, fight, play baseball, basketball, whatever. All you got to do is not go to Vegas, not gamble. Okay, sounds good. What happens if I do get? You're done. You're done. And I think the UFC should go ahead and ban the guy if he is found. I think, every sports league should. They got to protect themselves. They got to protect themselves and they got to protect the brand. And the brands of all these sports leagues are already coming under a lot of fire when sports betting was starting to get legalized. And they're all partnering with these sports gambling companies and letting people gamble. It's so it's crazy. It's crazy. And hey, it's free money on the floor. It's advertisement. It's people in the sports game that want to get in the sports game. I mean, it's hard not to look at it like that. It's hard not to, but it's tough. It's a tough line to walk. But again, for these athletes, I really have no sympathy. I zero sympathy for any of these athletes that do get caught in any of these gambling scandals or anything like that. And the college athletes, maybe I have a little bit more of okay, yeah, maybe, and we'll go ahead and just cut to it. I was going to save it for later, but we'll cut to it now. 6 players from 3 schools through games or shared betting information. This being announced by ESPN today. NCAA finishing up an investigation. The 3 schools involved: New Orleans, Mississippi Valley State, and you guessed it, ASU. Yep, go Sun Devils. Knew you guys were dirty all along. But no, seriously. Coming down to Day Hunter, DeQuavion Short, Jamin Vincent, who played for New Orleans last year, and then Hunter Short, they all kind of work together to make sure they lost by a certain number of points, and that just goes down the ladder. And I mean, this is something, suspensions have gone. The NCAA has permanently revoked any eligibility for those players in the future, thus ending any athletic career that they possibly had, or coaching or anything like that. I can't. I mean, I get it. Again, I get it to a point, but I don't get it. And it's hard, especially with college basketball just starting. But I mean, you're watching these games, it's tough, man. It is tough. And I love sports gambling. This whole degenerate take started off because Noah and I love sports gambling, and it's a lot of fun to do. And stuff doesn't bounce your way. And when the integrity of the game is called into question, though, you kind of sit back and you're like, well, damn. Damn, what are we doing here? And don't get me wrong, I don't think the league's getting involved, and especially college now, the NCAA saying, let the kids gamble on all the professional games they want to. That's fine. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, especially with all the information over the last couple of weeks coming out about all the issues college sports has with gambling. So we're just going to go ahead and make it okay. It's so backwards and dumb. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Again, all athletes, doesn't matter what sport. I do not care if it's the diver. I don't care if it's the curling team, the rowing team. If you are an athlete in the NCAA or any sports league, no gambling at all. Let's go ahead and just remove that temptation, because obviously no one can handle it. And that's fine. That's fine. If no one can handle it, let's just go ahead and take it away, not give them more of it. I really just, I would love to. And this is an open invite. If anybody from the NCAA would like to sit down and have a conversation about how that happened, I would love to interview you. I got 1.5 million questions. 1.5 million. Anyway. Well, all right, I got that off my chest. That was a rough one. Let's go ahead and get on to other big news coming out today. Fridays are great news dump days. That is for damn sure. Penn Gaming. Have you guys heard of them before? Probably haven't heard of them directly, but you've heard of their partners. You've heard of Barstool. You've heard of ESPN, and they're now moving on to The Score as Penn Gaming is going to be paying out ESPN and revoking the rest of the contract for the licensing agreement for ESPN Bet. ESPN will cease to exist starting December 1st. Penn Gaming going to pay out another couple $1 million on December 1st to get out of that contract. ESPN keeps all of their, rights and everything like that. Penn Gaming keeps all of the gaming information along with the balances, et cetera, rebranding to The Score, which is a brand they own through the Barstool acquisition. They did buy them while Barstool had them, and that was part of that acquisition. Let me start here. It's really hard. I mean, it is really hard to not make money in the gambling industry. And I got this little chart here, and it shows like all the sports books that have been, and everything like that. And when two of the books up there are from the same company, I think you just kind of wrap it into one, because you got Barstool up there, ESPN Bet now going to be joining the frame, and it's mind blowing that Penn Gaming can't get this right. Because Penn Gaming, this isn't some, sports betting company or casino company that just started because sports betting started becoming legal or anything like that. This is a company that's been well established in the East Coast, like in gambling and everything like that. And so it's laughable to me that they can't keep users on their platforms. They can't do anything like that. I think part of it has to do with the fact that ESPN, and I said this from day one when this deal was signed, ESPN was just not a good look. ESPN was not a good partner to go in with them. You know what I want to do if I am really, really bored and want a good laugh? I watch the ESPN Bet show. That, because my God, you're literally just scraping from the bottom of the barrel of prop bets that probably won't even hit. Because these people were just plucked from the back of the studio and said, okay, now you're talking about gambling. Talking about what? You're talking about gambling now. And ESPN wasn't set up for that. They weren't set up for that. And none of their producers, on-air talent or anything like that was set up to be well-versed in speaking on gambling. And I'm not trying to come in here and say, listen, you can only talk about gambling if you actually... No, I'm just saying, there's a way to talk about sports, and there's a way to talk about sports gambling. And I'm not saying they both can't work together, but I'm saying they are mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? Because breaking down film and talking about, what a team needs to do better on defense and offense is a hell of a lot different between, well, is the kicker's wife pregnant, or is she leaving him and he's not going to be able to kick today, so I'm going to take the points with Pittsburgh. Yeah, again, completely different conversations that are being had between who's winning a game and who's covering a spread. And again, the ESPN talent, they just weren't set up to do it. They just weren't set up to do it. They don't know how to do it, and they don't care to do it, which is fine. Again, they weren't hired to talk about gambling or anything like that, talk about point spreads and all that. No, they were just hired to talk about sports. Talk about your job title, your job description changing mid, after you signed. And again, I don't have I have a problem with ESPN talent. Let me get that out of the way. But I don't have a problem with the fact that they couldn't talk about gambling But then the issue started to come in with the parlays. And I really thought Penn Gaming may have learned their lesson with Barstool when they had all of these, talent pushed parlays and everything like that. And yes, they do end up making quite a bit of money for the books and everything. But the biggest issue with Penn Gaming, and we can keep throwing rocks at ESPN and Barstool if we wanted to, but the real issue with Penn Gaming is that their sports book sucks. I do not know one respectable gambler that uses a Penn Gaming. Barstool, ESPN, whatever it's going to be next, the score, and then whatever it's going to be after the score. I do not know a respectable gambler that uses ESPN Bet or Penn Gaming in general. Now, yes, every once in a while will they be late on a line, or will they, hold a line somewhere a little too long? Yeah, and then you jump on that line. I mean, I've used them before. I'm not going to say I haven't used them before, but use them for very special occasions when the line's right, when you're shopping, not as your everyday sports book, because 99.9% of the time you're going to get screwed by Penn Gaming and those bullshit lines. And again, it is hard. It is hard to lose money in the gambling market, but they're going to keep trying. It's amazing. It's amazing. And even more news, because, and this is, I guess, my bigger issue. I don't even know if it's an issue. It's just, now, you know what? It is an issue. It is an issue. I got an issue. These stupid, what's it called? Prediction markets. Okay, these prediction markets, Polymarket, Kalshi, all those prediction markets. Okay, if we really want to start calling them prediction markets. First of all, how have the casinos and gaming companies not gone to the federally and been like, hey, can we close this loophole? Because that's all it is. That's all these prediction markets are, is a loophole to legalize gambling. Honestly, they're no better than offshore books, except maybe they're not going to take all of your money if you win. I mean, seriously. And betting on elections and doing all of that stuff, that's fine. That's been done for years and years and years across the pond, everywhere else except this country. And even now in most sports betting legal states, you cannot bet on election outcomes or anything like that. But you can do that on Polymarket. You can do that on Kalshi. And now Google is even implementing Polymarket into their search engine and into Google Finance and everything. And DraftKings is even looking about doing, DraftKings predictions or something like that, so that they can get into the states where it's not legal, because it's legal there, because they're prediction markets. How we had to fight so long and wait so long for online sports betting to be legal, to not use illegal bookies, to have protection as players. And then these bums that come in and bet on, first of all, I have no respect for anyone who uses ESPN Bet or any Penn Gaming app. I sure as hell have no respect for anyone really using these prediction markets. And that might just be the old school gambler in me, but it's dumb. Go ahead, bet on whether that whole alien hoax or that stupid meteorite or whatever is going to crash into the earth, or on the elections or whatever. But I mean, the lines that they have, the lines, the odds, and that's the thing, the percentages. What the hell do you call them? They're odds, they're chances. You're taking a bet. You're making a bet. Let's call a duck a duck. Let's not try to sugarcoat it into something it's not. Okay? And plus, that's the other issue. I log in legally to my Caesar Sportsbook app, and I have to go, well, hey, you've been logged in for an hour, and I'm just researching lines. I haven't even placed a bet, but I've been logged in for an hour, and an alert comes up to call the number. Are you joking? I can be logged into Polymarket or any of these things, wager however much money, and no one's going to be telling me to call a damn number. And so, again, whatever. I really hope these prediction markets come crashing down at some point. It's got to. Again, I don't understand how this is legal. I don't understand how this is continuing to go on. I don't understand any of it. When, again, we had to wait so long as sports gamblers for anything legal to come our way. But no, we found a loophole of loopholes. Prediction markets. Kiss my ass with that. Kiss my ass. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. If I'm not fired up already, let's keep me fired up. Okay, let's keep me fired up because it's week 2, baby. We're going into week 2 of ESPN and YouTube TV still just screwing their consumer. And I mean absolutely screwing them every which way it comes. All right. Yeah. Both sides telling us it's everyone else's fault and that we need to be the ones to go to them and tell everybody to, be adults, be businessmen, come to a deal. Are you kidding me, bro? Seriously, are you kidding me? And then I log into Twitter and I see Stephen A and Greeny and, Herb Street and everyone telling me that, hey, go tell YouTube TV and Google to stop being evil. No, don't. No, just make a deal. Let's all grow up. ESPN, Disney, let's have a very honest conversation. Your app sucks. I mean, it really, really sucks. And you have had years and years and years to get it right. So much so that you come to us as sports fans and say, hey, guys, listen, we know that first app sucked, but get ready for this new update coming up. New this, new that. And then what do I get? What do I get? I still get signed out every 10 minutes. I still can't watch half the games I actually want to watch. Quad box, you want to watch a game in 4 screens on the ESPN app? You have better luck going outside, holding your hands out and gold falling into it. Seriously, bro. It's unbelievable that Disney's okay with this, that ESPN's okay with this, or anything is okay with how bad that app is. And honestly, I feel so dumb for thinking that it was going to be better. ESPN is that girlfriend that, you break up with because she's awful for you and she makes you feel terrible. And then she comes back, baby, no, I've changed. It'll be different this time. And then you think, okay, it's going to be different this time. And then you log in to try to watch 4 screens and then you can't even, I'm watching college basketball. I do not give a shit about D2 women's soccer or D3 men's hockey. I do not give a shit. I want to watch 4 games of college basketball. But there's not even close to an option for that. No. You can maybe watch 1 game, and that's if the stream will load. Okay? And then, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And, don't get me wrong. Did I have a nice, peaceful weekend not worrying about watching the SEC all day? Yeah, it was nice not watching a bunch of mid-teams fight it out and then having the fans go online and say, oh, we're the best. That was kind of nice. It was kind of nice watching Big Noon Kickoff and everything like that. Big Noon Kickoff. Great show. Great show. I'm glad ESPN gave me the opportunity to turn over and watch it. I'm done with it, man. It's unbelievable. And for Pat McAfee, and again, love the guy, hate the guy, however you feel towards him. He gets a lot of money from ESPN for the licensing of his show on ESPN Airways. And he will still go out there and he calls out the talent. He calls out ESPN. He calls out Bob Iger. He calls out everyone this week and says, hey, let's figure this out. Seriously. And like I said last week, it's always sports. It's always sports because everyone in Hollywood, they can't write. They can't figure anything out that can attract the eyes and the viewership that live sports does. For every 1 show they have, NFL has a week's worth of games. And each of those games will do better numbers than whatever bullshit they're putting out on streaming or in the networks nowadays. And that's just the simple facts. Serious, really. When was the last time you were standing at the water cooler in the break room and someone said, oh, did you catch that new show on NBC yesterday? Or, oh, did you catch that new show on ABC, like Grey's Anatomy in the 55th season? I mean, come on, bro. And so, again, who gets screwed because no one in Hollywood knows how to write anymore? No one in Hollywood knows how to act anymore. No one in Hollywood can make any money. Who really gets screwed? The sports fans. And that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. Seriously, the only people that's upset about this whole ESPN Disney not being on YouTube TV is sports fans. The only people it's screwing is sports fans. And that's how it always is. It's never, do you want your favorite soap operas on ABC? It's no, do you want to watch football this weekend? Do you want to watch football this weekend? Call YouTube TV and tell them they suck. That's what it is. It's not, do you want to watch General Hospital or Grey's Anatomy or whatever the fuck else is on ABC? No, it's, do you want to watch sports? And again, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, why would ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, just want to alienate, their audience? Because they want a little bit more money, because they can't develop an app that's good. That's not our problem. Figure your shit out. Okay? Seriously. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It really is. And it's like, you guys need us. It is very evident. ESPN is somehow, with how shitty that whole side of the company is ran, is still turning somewhat of a profit for Disney. And that's why they didn't sell it off a couple years ago when those rumors were going around. And now they are just trying to push away their fan base, push away their audience that will pay the stuff and that will do all of this, but they got to be somewhat reasonable. This is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And it's unbelievable that we are going into a second week of this. A second week. Disney's losing $5 million. $5 million a day. $5 million a day. They have lost well over, they've lost what is that, 110? No. That's what, 65 mil? Yes. No? I can't do math. That's got 75, 80 mil. All right, I'm just going to throw it out. Round number there. But they've lost almost $100 million since this whole thing has taken place. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And I really hope Dumb. Dumb. Just dumb. That's all it is. It's just so dumb. Like, there's nothing else to, like, what are we talking about here? We're talking about $2 billion corporations that can't agree on a smaller number or a bigger number. And it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But here we are. It's okay. It's all good. I'm going to go back to my happy place now. I'm going to go back to my happy place because as of this week, Kyler Murray is on the injured reserve for the Arizona Cardinals, missing at least the next 4 weeks. And as everyone on Twitter has pointed out, yes, that is the release of during the release of Call of Duty 7. Congrats to Kyler. He gets to play. But let's be real, because this has developed into something bigger. Has developed into something a lot bigger. And I shout out to the person who put this little timeline together, because this is where it's at. Kyler, he was announced day to day. Kyler is questionable. Jacoby will start, but Kyler, he will play. He might have a role. Kyler is out, but don't worry. He is still our starter. Jacoby is the starter, but Kyler, when Kyler's back, it's still his team. Nope, Kyler, you're going to the IR. I mean, it's been an insane week for Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. And as an Arizona fan, as a Cardinals fan, I do think it is the right move to move off of Kyler Murray and just get rid of this whole train wreck. Absolutely. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. The contract's horrendous. His play hasn't lived up to it, whatever. We can have the argument on who failed who or whatever, but as it stands today, the last 7 years have failed. Whether that's the organization's fault or Kyler Murray's fault, we can have that discussion if we really want. But at the end of the day, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals have not worked out and will not work out. We can try another head coach, try another OC. It doesn't matter. It's not going to work out. At the end of the day, I do believe Kyler Murray is done. I do believe Kyler Murray is done with the Arizona Cardinals. We have seen him take his last snaps with the team. Outside of Jacoby Brissett getting injured after Kyler's on the IR, I do think Jacoby is going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this season and keep it moving. Now, where does Kyler go from here? Who knows, man? Who knows? He might go to the Jets, maybe the Panthers, maybe the Browns, maybe literally anybody. The Vikings might be looking for a quarterback. I mean, I think Kyler will get moved because, again, there's enough of that raw talent there and enough of that X factor that it can work. It can work in the right system. More than anything, I wish that he could play for the Ravens. I really wish he could be in the same system Lamar Jackson is, because I think he would be able to thrive and really go up from there. But Doesn't look like it. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be too picky about a trade partner or anything. I think if they can get a second-round pick for him, they'll be more than happy. Getting that contract off the books is going to be bigger than anything. Even with dead cap, it doesn't matter. Get that contract off our books and let's get moving to the next section. And do the Cardinals go through the draft? Do we stick with Jacoby for a year? Who knows? That's all TBD. But overall, Kyler Murray, thank you for playing for us for 7 years. We have memories. Good, bad, and different, but they were memories. Good luck in your future endeavors, whether that is football, going back to baseball. Oh, yeah, those rumors are starting to swirl around, too. Is Kyler going to go and play for the A's, who I believe still hold his rights? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see on Kyler. Oh, there was one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about. What was it? Oh, yeah, this kind of just came out of nowhere. I haven't heard about this, and I'm usually pretty up to date on my WNBA news. Believe it or not, I am. But coming out of Front Office Sports, some WNBA stars are being offered salary starting at $2 million to join Project B. The league has already signed WNBA PA president Nanika, and other WNBA players have signed to play in the league too. Sources told FOS. Now, how shitty? I mean, no, for real. Like, how shitty of these people to do this? I'm not joking. Like, how shitty of them. All right, the WNBA has been a pain in the NBA side since its inception. The WNBA is not something that's ever made money. The WNBA hasn't been anything that has done well for the company. The NBA, it never, until the last couple of years. And it's hilarious, dude. It's freaking hilarious. Like, okay, so this company, like your company, you work at a company, and that company hasn't made a profit in the 25 years it's been open, okay? They are paying you what they can. They are trying to do what they can. But then all of a sudden, holy shit, these last 2 years have been insane. These last 2 years have been good. We're selling tickets. We're selling merchandise. Oh, my God, we're making money. And then you come as an employee. Hey, I know you guys haven't turned a profit in 25 years, but we need to be paid like the NBA players now. Now. Like, I want NBA money. I want millions and millions of dollars. I want to live like a king and feast like a queen. Like, whatever. Like, that's mind-blowing. Just so short-minded of the WNBA players. It really is. And I mean, this whole Project B bullshit, and I'm calling it bullshit until they have a TV contract, because that's how you know when something's real, is when you get a TV contract going. But I mean, good for them, I guess, for seeing that there's a gap in the market and that players are willing to leave, especially high-profile players or players who think they're high-profiled, and try to make money off of that. Will they try to compete directly with the WNBA? Maybe, maybe not. But listen, it's all going to come. We all know what it is. It's all going to come down to what CC does. What's Caitlin Clark going to do? Is she going to stay in the WNBA? If she stays in the WNBA is still number one because they have the best player in the world. Same with Paige. I know Paige Buchers is signing a deal with has signed a deal with Unrivaled and is going to have her own team and everything. Again, that's in the offseason of the WNBA. That's all cool. Go make that money so you don't have to travel overseas and do that stuff. And we're in another Brittany Griner situation. I get that. But if there's going to be another full-on league that's completely competing against the WNBA, Adam Silver ain't going to be happy about that. Let me tell you that right now. Oh, he ain't going to be happy. But I don't know. Could it work out? Maybe. And I mean maybe, and I know. And please get out of my comments and mentions already, WNBA stands. Like, I get it. Like, it's not just Caitlin Clark, okay? All WNBA teams have seen increase in ticket sales, season tickets, et cetera, and I get it. Okay, I get it. I can read a financial report. But my point being, who gives a shit if Caitlin's not there? Unrivaled is completely different with the 3-on-3 aspect of it, so I'm fine. Like, that's seems fine. Again, I'm busy watching college basketball, women's college basketball, football, baseball, literally anything else except Unrivaled. I don't even know what channel they're on, but I don't know. It's again, the WNBA, women's basketball in general. I mean, just keep shooting themselves directly in the foot with all this shit. And, more than anything, there's probably no Project B out there. And this is just a very smart negotiating tactic with the CBA coming up with the WNBA. They extended it another 30 days, but what will that really do? And so maybe this is just, their master plan to get more money from the WNBA, and there really is no Project B. And it's just a shell company. But we'll see what happens. And, they're going to get a bump. They're going to get a pay raise. Like, I just think I think everyone needs to understand that they're not going to get the pay raise that the players want. And the players are always going to want more money. And again, I'm not saying they don't deserve to be paid more. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you got to look at the company as a whole and see what's going on. And right now, the company as a whole is WNBA. Not looking too good financially. Let me tell you that right now. Can't barely afford to stay open. If it wasn't for all the subsidies from the NBA, we don't want to talk about that, huh? Have you ever noticed how WNBA fans and stands get so pissy when you bring up the fact that the NBA has been subsidizing them since the start? For real. Like, well, they can do their own now. Well, no, they still need the money coming in because they're paying off debts now that they've got probably a lot of debts from this. It's unbelievable. It's such a joke. Such a joke, the WNBA. Oh my God. We'll see what happens with it. I'm not expecting much. I am expecting a lockout. I don't expect it to be a long lockout. I do expect it to be some type of a lockout with the WNBA, just because there's no chance in hell they come to a deal in the next 30 days. There's not. I don't think this whole Project B thing is anything. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. I literally almost spit out my water when I was reading that article. And I'm like, really? This is the bullshit we're pulling now? This is the bullshit? But again, shout out to this other company. They realized, hey, they're doing good numbers now. Let's see if we can step in here and just snipe everything from them. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a joke. Oh, that's right. Last thing. NBA is targeting October 2027 launch for the new European League. Its a list of preferred team cities in the new venture include London, Paris, Rome, Milan, Berlin, Munich, Barcelona, Madrid, Athens, and Istanbul. Would be a 16-team league with the last 4 teams playing their way in either through FIBA's Champions League or through domestic league. NBA's European teams would likely play against the big boys, the NBA, in a tournament down the line. An NBA Cup format with American and European teams, or a tournament like last summer's FIFA Club World Cup as part of the increasingly integrated framework. Now, outside of the U.S., no ifs, ands, or buts. Basketball is growing and is growing at a rapid rate. Not surprised the NBA is trying to get back in there into the Europe leagues and everything like that. I think they'll do great, especially if they can set it up as the, and I like that whole thing, like the last 4 teams are going to play in their way through FIBA's Champions League. Hey, let's keep that. Let's keep that. Let's have a relegation system in basketball. I think that would be really cool and just different. So it's not just the NBA and how they set it up there. And that tournament needs to happen and replace the NBA Cup. The NBA Cup needs to go away and die a painful death. I'm sick and tired of looking at the dumb floors. I'm sick and tired of the format. I'm sick and tired of it. Doesn't mean shit. Never meant shit. Won't mean shit. But, yeah. Hey, that's all I got today, guys. That is all I got today. I'm ready to get started. Enjoy my weekend. Wildcats play tonight. Bear down. Go Cats. Should be another nice win for the boys. But, yeah, hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out everyone here on Rumble, over on YouTube, X, TikTok. Y'all are the best. If you like what I'm cooking, please hit the like button, hit the follow button. It does help us out a lot more than you know. I will be live tomorrow morning giving out my best bets for college football Saturday and our first college basketball Saturday with a full slate of games there. Not going to want to miss that live tomorrow morning. And then Sunday, of course, with my NFL picks and sit and starts for fantasy football that day. Going to be a fun one. But hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to you all again. But with all that being said, I'm the Brofict one, AJ. Good luck. God bless. Have an incredible weekend, and I'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.